colourful lightsaber fights, epic space battles, and iconic characters. But it's not only on cinema screens that the Star Wars universe has been thrilling fans for decades. Games from the franchise are often guaranteed to succeed. No wonder that the legendary pod racing aspect got its own game with the release of Episode 1 in 1999. It was called Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, and it was hugely advanced for the time. It is still the most successful game of its genre. In fact, it holds the Guinness World Record for the best-selling game in the sci-fi racing genre. Granted, there aren't that many games that fall into this category, but numbers don't lie. Over 3 million games were sold on PC, Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast, which is truly impressive. And to this day, it remains a success story for developer LucasArts. There's a reason why the game was remastered for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch in 2020. Not much has really changed, yet fans still love it today. Why is that the case? In 1999, a tirade of racing games hit the market. Successful franchises such as Gran Turismo, Ridge Racer, and Midtown Madness fought for the attention of gamers. LucasArts suddenly brought a slightly different racing game to the people with its Pod Racer title. And the Star Wars brand wasn't the only selling point. Basically, it gave the player the chance to drive along something other than through normal streets in something other than cars. Suddenly, you were sitting in the pod racer yourself, and you were able to jet through Tatooine, accompanied by the typical whirring noises. The feeling of intense speed was no accident. After all, according to the ad, pod racers reach almost 1,000 miles per hour. The handling in the game is sensitive and fast. Hard turns often require quick reflexes and drifting techniques to get through. The design of the tracks was also at a high level for the late 90s. The game offers a total of 25 routes on 8 planets, whereby the routes differ in the number of jumps, alternative routes, and sharp turns. Another aspect that is popular in many games to this day is tuning. 15 pod races can be improved in various areas over the course of the tournament mode. Do you want a higher top speed, better acceleration, or improved cornering ability? The prize money from tournaments must be used carefully because you'll need these upgrades for success in later races. These features can still be found in many racing games over 20 years later, even if the unique voice of Watto might be lacking.
You're gonna lose unless you upgrade your pod racer, I think.
The performance of the pod racer must then be used in a specific way in the race. If you activate the boost for too long, the engine will overheat. This can be fixed, but it slows you down enormously. Timing and control of your vehicle are critical. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer had a lot to offer, especially in multiplayer mode. But that was also exactly where the problem lay. The game came out in the early days of the internet and offered a maximum of 1 LAN multiplayer for 8 players. A track editor, which is pretty much standard these days for arcade racing games, was not included. So there was nothing to distinguish the multiplayer experience from the tournament mode in terms of content. And this also reflects the biggest missed opportunity in the remake. Apart from a few changes in handling and a split-screen option, there is no implementation of an online mode. The new addition from Aspire Media only really did what was absolutely necessary to bring the classic from 1999 back to life on new consoles. That is a pity, but it says a lot that the Pod Racer game can still hold its head high today. And who knows, maybe it could pave the way for a new modern Pod Racer game. With an online mode, track editor, and other updates, perhaps it could even topple its predecessor from the sci-fi racing genre throne more than 20 years later. This version, created by fans in the Unreal Engine, shows what a new Pod Racer game could look like. Sadly, there is only 1 track on Tatooine here, but it shows how much potential there still is in the good old pod racing. For more content about racing, Check out our website at overtake.gg, as well as the other videos on our YouTube channel.